Yosemite. One of my favorite places on the entire planet. I was going there often as a child. It was an annual vacation that I went to. Matter of fact, I've been going to Yosemite so long I remember the Fire Falls. And if you aren't old enough to know what the Fire Falls is, you should definitely look it up and see what the Fire Falls were. It was kind of an environmental disaster, but for a kid, it was just magic. One thing I remember about Yosemite very, very clearly were the trees and how beautiful and healthy and full and alive the forest felt. Well, up until about, I'm going to say 10 to 15 years ago, that was still the case. Now things are changing, and they're not changing for the better. Well, let's go to Yosemite and check it out. When I was in high school, I had one driving dream, and that was to climb El Capitan in Yosemite. I was a real avid rock climber all through high school, and while other kids were playing basketball and football and other sports, I was working out for climbing. And I did. In my senior year in high school, I did climb El Capitan. But that's not what this is about. I found these pictures because I wanted to show the trees. I wanted to show what the trees looked like 45 years ago. And, well, these are kind of interesting. That's me on the face of El Cap, and that's one of my proudest shots there. That's when I actually finished the climb. I go back from time to time and go hike up to the base of El Cap, and I dream of younger days. But this video isn't about rock climbing. This video is about what's going on in Yosemite today. So I took the family up to Yosemite this last weekend. We've got some guests from the UK that one of them had never been to California and he wanted to see Yosemite. And you all know that there's been some horrible fires in California. One of these fires hit Yosemite and it hit it severely. Look at that. There was a house that was saved. That blew my mind because all around the house, this was what the forest looked like. All the trees were black. And what was really scary was the extent of the fire. So we took Highway 41 in, and this was our view as we were driving. I had to pull over because I could not believe the devastation. This is the place that I have grown to love, and to see this devastation just, I wanted to cry. I mean, I was on the verge of tears. It bothered me so much. I know it'll come back. I know fire is a normal, natural thing, but this is my Yosemite. This is my second home. This is the place that I love for feeling the revitalizing feelings of being in the woods or being on the rocks. And a lot of the trees that didn't burn were heated up, and there's a lot of damage. So we went up to the main viewpoint just past the tunnel, and it gets pretty crowded up here, but I wanted to show you what's going on. This area did not burn, but look closely at how many dead trees are out there. I really wanted to find a matching picture, and if I look hard enough, I'm sure I could find one from years ago that shows you the difference. But try to imagine all that splendor without any trees. It's pretty tough. So, I mean, the people that were here, they hardly even notice. You know, they look at the waterfalls, they look at the rocks, they ooh and they ah. But I can't help myself. I'm caught up in the vegetation and the life, because it's the trees in this area that make it. Look off in the distance. That's all beetle damage. I'd say a third to half of all the trees in Yosemite are dead and dying. So here we go. Go back. Look at how healthy that is. That's from 1972. Look at the trees. If I took this same picture now, half of those trees are gone or dead. Water. Water is the real topic here that we need to talk about, because people say, well, what's causing these problems? Well, is it the drought? Well, a big part of it is the drought, the changing weather patterns. I don't want to go into the global warming man-made cause or not man-made cause, but the fact that we are not getting enough water means that all these other things are happening. And the weather is changing. It's getting a lot warmer. And when the weather changes, insect populations explode. And a lot of the insects that are attacking our trees are out of control, causing the forests to die. One thing that I did notice that really scared me was the amount of work that the Park Service is doing. There are burn piles everywhere. But you know what? Enough doom and gloom. I want to just show you the beauty of Yosemite. And as crowded as it was, I just want everyone to know that with just a little bit of effort, you can get away from the crowds. Even as busy as it is on a weekend, you get off the road, you get up on the trails, you get up and do a little bit of rock hopping. Here's two of my youngest kids. That's Trent and Alyssa. Alyssa's off living in New York, and she's visiting us now. I love seeing the siblings play together, even as young adults. So go ahead and enjoy the rest of this video. And if you've never been to Yosemite, even with all the death and destruction, even with all the dying trees, this is one of the most beautiful places in the world, and it recharges me.
Loves his sister.
Even today, after such a long time, I'm drawn to El Cap. I've been up there quite a few times over the years, and most of my adventures up there were when I was really young and really strong and really fit. But I know that rock really well, so when I look up at it, I can imagine myself being on certain routes and certain areas of the face of that climb. But it's just a remarkable place. And as I said before, it's really easy to get away from the crowds, because 99% of the populace that goes to Yosemite just drives around, or they'll get out and look at things from the viewpoints. You do a quick walk and you see sights like this. It just, the weather was amazing this day too. Everything was changing so quickly. Sometimes it'd be in the shade, sometimes it'd be in the sun. I just even little things like these horsetail ferns just mesmerize me. I'm just so in awe. And when I said it recharges me, it really does. Being by the water is so critical, so important. People don't realize what it does for you. This is the meadow that overlooks the end of the valley. And there was this apple tree out there. I had to stop and show you this one apple, this one lone apple. There's a few apples from times past when people planted some trees out here. And we looked very hard to see if there were any apples up there. This is the time of the year there should be some. But I found one lone apple up there, so clearly the wildlife really dominates the taking of all the fruit. This is a dogwood. Dogwoods are amazing. When they first come out in the spring, there's these big, beautiful white flowers. And this time of the year, the I guess you can call those the seed pods. Just gorgeous. Half Dome. Oh, I've been up there many times as well. The Royal Arches. Just the one thing that I did want to talk about in terms of the trees was what the Park Service is doing. They're removing dead trees. So the valley still feels very green and alive, but all these trees, including these yellow pines, are dying, and the beetle damage is extensive. This particular tree, I counted the rings on it, and it's over 500 years old. So this tree was living a long time before man even came to visit, except for the indigenous people. That was a Laetiporus sulphureus, a chicken of the woods. Well, I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. We had a great time. Just getting out with family and friends is so important. I hope you enjoyed this little mini vacation here. And please subscribe to my channel.
What was that? It's a fun ball.